Japan Station is made possible in part by Patreon support. If you would like to make sure that I can keep bringing you more content like this, then head on over to japankyo.com/Patreon and sign up for as little as $1 a month.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Japan Station.
Welcome to Japan Station, a production of japankyo.com. This is a podcast where we teach you everything you should know about Japan, plus some other stuff that you really don't have to know at all, but you still should know them. I'm your host, Tony, and I'm joined by my co-host.
Me!
Mr.
Today,
Me.
my name is just me.
Yeah, so Mr. Me is with us. No, it's Ryan. Ryan, my good friend, old classmate. And we're talking about mochi today. So, mochi is another listener request. Specifically, it was a request by one of our Patreon supporters, Dr. Jonathan Root. Thank you so much for all your support. So what was the last one that we did? We talked about a food-related thing, and it was probably like a couple of months ago at this point. Can't even remember what it was. Oh, it was Oden. It was Oden.
Oh, yeah, and neither of us like Oden. Well, good news! Neither of us like mochi! No, I don't think I dislike mochi. For me, mochi is a very, I don't know. Like, if a 0 is bad and 10 is good, it's a very 5 food.
Well, mochi is a very, like, you eat it with something, and that other something very much determines whether you like it or not.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I never just eat like a big handful of just mochi by itself.
Just pounded.
Scoop it up.
Thick rice. Yeah, you rarely do that. Even Japanese people don't generally just eat mochi by itself. At the very least, you're going to dip it in soy sauce or eat it with like, nori, like seaweed, something, right? Because it's a very plain food. But let's, for anybody, I'm sure pretty much everybody knows what mochi is, but just very briefly, basically, it's just like, it's mochi gome is, well, literally mochi rice. It's another variety of rice, like short grained, and
it's made by rabbits on the moon who hit it with hammers.
I'm going to be talking about that. That's at the end. That was a teaser. The true origins of mochi.
Well, you did say you think people know what it is. Almost everyone I've met who's not very into Japan thinks it's ice cream, and mochi is not ice cream.
No. We will talk about that as well. So hang on. But yeah, basically it's this, not the typical Japanese rice, not the long grain rice. It's another type of rice. Apparently it came from like Southeast Asia or something like that. Like, so it wasn't originally in Japan, was brought in, back in like the
1980s.
No, all the way back to like the Jomon period. So we're talking like a few thousand years ago. But yeah, the mochi that everybody knows is typically, right? Like you pound it, right? You pound it until it turns into essentially what's called a rice cake. And it's this thick, sticky dense mass of rice. And it is usually eaten with something, in something, whether it's a soup.
Yeah, wraps around something or dipped in something.
Exactly. Yeah. The mochi itself is very, very plain. I mean, it's like pounded rice, basically. So you can kind of imagine what that is. It doesn't taste exactly like the typical rice that you would
It's
have.
kind of doughy.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah.
In Japanese, it would be described as being mochi mochi.
Exactly. Yeah. Like water is wet, like mochi is mochi. Yeah. So yeah, it's very typically thick in its consistency, and yeah, you would normally eat it with something, right? So this is most commonly eaten around the New Year's holidays, especially like once you enter the new year.
Is it? I feel like mochi is kind of year round.
It is year round. There's all kinds of mochi. We'll talk about that, but just when you hear mochi, typically, your first thought for a lot of people would be New Year's, because it is such an integral part of the holiday. And it like for people celebrating the new year, like it's not a new year unless you eat mochi, right? In Japan for a lot of people.
I'm not denying that. I just feel
Mhm.
like every holiday has some kind of mochi-based
Yes.
thing too.
Like we're not going to be able to talk about all the varieties of mochi because there's just so many and they're very regional. Some are very much about like associated with festival celebrations. uh there's no way I can't even create a list because there's just so many different something mochi, they all are called something mochi. So yeah, but the most commonly seen or heard about is probably around the New Year's holiday. And there's mochi by itself, basically, and you know that can be grilled and like I said, eaten with soy sauce. But also very popular is ozoni, which is a type of soup, and it'll usually have
Hmm.
mochi, like I guess you could call them dumplings or whatever, like little round things of mochi in it, and it's cooked in the soup, and the soup again, soup, there's so many varieties depending on the region. Like it's like every prefecture has its own variety, and yeah, you can kind of divide it between the east and the west, but there's just so many different varieties. But basically, vegetables. Sometimes it might have chicken in it, and then it'll have these rice cakes, right, of mochi. So mochi is just such a closely tied thing to Japanese culture. It's been around for a very long time. Like I said, like Jomon period, he started getting it, and then
I
it
mean, it's like older than Japan.
basically, yeah, it's older than what we know as Japan today. Yeah, and part of like the rituals and the celebration. There's mentions of it in like Genji Monogatari, back in the Heian period. So we're talking like the 700s roughly. And apparently, it started to grow in adoption, and it became more easy to prepare, like in the sixth century, I think, in the Kofun period, if I remember correctly. So that's roughly around, yeah, the sixth century. And because I guess they had some new kind of like pot or something like that. So, they got the new rice cooker from the electronics store, and now they were, and making a lot more mochi.
That's
Um,
when the first electronic stores popped up.
yeah, that was Yamada, pre-Yamada Denki. So, yeah, but Heian period, like I said, there's a lot more in the Heian period. It's mentioned in records, like for example in the Monogatari. There's a particularly interesting type of mochi, and it's called. Make
This is
sure.
because the other types are not interesting.
Well, this one is a very particularly interesting one because if you eat it, you end up getting married. So yeah. So if
Nobody
somebody,
told me.
if you go to a girl's house and her parents try to make you eat mochi, they might be trying to like get you two married. So just be aware of that. So this is called Mikayo no Mochi. Mikayo no Mochi. Mikayo no Mochi. And this actually does appear in Genji Monogatari as well, the tale of Genji. And basically Mika means three days, right? So on the third day, there's this like ceremony that could happen where like the man and the woman will eat mochi. I'm not sure exactly how the mochi is prepared in this case. I don't think it had ice cream in it. And they eat it, and that's like, oh, now we're married. So back in the day, mochi was used in this way as well. And so yeah, then this just mochi's just been around forever. In more modern times, like okay, so one of the ways to prepare mochi that is the traditional way, right? Is the hammer and the like little thump thing. It's called a kine and an usu, and you will see
Hammer and
this.
stump.
Yeah, yeah, and you will see this in like the New Year celebrations, right? It's a traditional thing. I've Have you ever done it? I did it at one of the schools that I worked at. They did.
I've no. I
Mhm.
think I was at like some place where they had like the thing on display and you could like just hammer it nothing to practice, but I never did it for like real or anything.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. There was one of the schools in Kobe that I worked at. They after the winter break was over, they did a little event thing, and the kids were doing it, and they let me do it too. So yeah, it's this big mallet, and basically like the kind of thing that you would see Mario, like you know, kind of looks
It's
like
shaped
that.
a little different though, because
It
like
is, it is, yeah,
the shaft doesn't go into the middle of the hammery part. It
yeah,
goes like
yeah,
to one side.
yeah, yeah. Mario uses a much more like Western, like squeaky kind of hammer looking thing.
Yeah, the
Uh,
Western wooden hammer that plumbers are known for using.
yes, yes. For some reason, he has a large mallet. Uh, anyway, yeah, it's this big.
That's like the size of a human.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So yeah, big mallet and this big like I guess it's made out of I don't know, is it like a stump or like stone? I've never actually touched it, so I'm not sure if that thing is made out of wood or
It
stone.
looks wood, but I
Yeah,
guess I've also never really investigated it.
yeah, me either. But basically, it looks like this big
It's
chunk.
not an anvil. It's got to be wood. It's not like
Yeah, yeah, it's not metal for sure. But yeah, for the like I said, you got to pound the rice after it's cooked in order to turn it into this rice cake. And so one way that they would do this is with the hammer and they pound it, and you get into this very rhythmical process with one person like readjusting and folding over the mochi being pounded, and then the person hitting with the hammer. And you would do this and do this until it gets pounded into the right consistency, and it's all just one big cake. And then you do it again, do it again, do it again until you produce all that you intend to produce. But of course, there's also more modern ways to create the mochi to produce the mochi. For example, there's mochi making machines. These have been around for quite a while, but you put the I guess the rice and all that. I've never actually seen one. I've heard them.
me neither.
I've heard them. Somebody I was in a house at one time. I can't remember whose it was. I was in Japan one time and I heard something going like ka-chink, 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 ka-chink. And I was like, what is that? I was like, oh, it's the mochi making machine. Oh, really? Okay. So yeah, it basically just, it's an automated machine. You put it in there and it just keeps pushing it down, pushing it down, pushing it
It
down.
keeps mochi-ing.
Yeah, yeah, it keeps mochi making on its own, and then by I don't know how long it takes, but you end up with your mochi produced, freshly pounded mochi, and you don't need a
I was
hammer
just
or anything.
I was just thinking, if you lived in olden days, the amount of effort they put into mochi, it's totally not worth it.
It is a
Like,
lot of effort, and um, and I think that probably is part of the reason why it came to be associated with religious rituals and that kind
I
of stuff
guess so.
because it
Like
was
I said, I
special.
don't dislike it. Like,
Yeah,
I definitely like it more than Oden and some of the other stuff we talked about,
yeah,
but it's just kind of like it's okay. And I can't imagine spending like 6 hours like producing it if you lived back in the old times. So like,
yeah,
you can
yeah,
just
yeah,
cook
yeah.
a fish. Like, why bother with this thing?
Dude, I could have kicked like 100 fish in the same amount of time. I get that. I get that. And it is a lot of work and it is quite plain. And I guess from modern eyes, we are also quite spoiled with all the like, flavors and all that.
Yeah, that's true. Like comparing it to any other, I
Yeah.
don't even know. Comparing it to other old sweets in Japan, I still feel it's sort of meh.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll get into the sweet aspect of mochi in just a moment. But for example, I was watching a video of this guy, this older guy, that he was showing how to do it in a very traditional way. And he was literally cooking the rice on like logs, right? Like a log fire. And he was saying, obviously, this is so much more difficult. It takes like an hour to just cook this. And, you have to be monitoring this. And it's a long, annoying process. And nowadays, it's just, you put it in the little machine, it'll pound it
This
for
is the worst thing I've ever had to do, and blah blah blah.
you.
Now enjoy.
No, he was saying like this is why people don't do it this way anymore because it's
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
so much work, right? But they showed the whole process and it was quite interesting. It's just that yeah, people don't generally do it this way anymore. Like another way to that I saw, I was looking up mochi videos, like mochi making videos. So now I'm sure my YouTube like for you is like gonna start showing like cooking videos from Japan. Um, this one person was showing, okay, so this is how you can create it really easily. You buy the mochi gome, right? The mochi rice, and you cook it. You put the water in, you strain the water, you cook it, and once that's done, no, you don't cook it. You put the water in an appropriate amount of water, and then you put it in a blender, and then you blend it till it's like a paste, and then you put it in the microwave, and then you get basically the mochi cake. So
Hmm.
super easy. And I don't cook generally speaking, so I don't pay attention to these things normally. So I thought that was pretty interesting that it was just yeah, just put it in like a couple minutes, whatever, in the microwave, and bam, you had a bowl full of the mochi cake. And then of course, mochi cake like already prepared, they're also sold, widely. They're very widely available, so especially around New Year's. So it's not an arduous thing at all these days to get your mochi. Speaking of types of mochi, we also one that I forgot to mention was, I talked about ozoni and all that in New Year's. There's kagami mochi. Kagami mochi. Literally it means mirror mochi, but there's no actual mirror involved. I'll talk about why it's called that, but this is a New Year's thing. And so it's an offering to the gods. Like mochi are also, there's also an association with being very like good fortune and good luck and good health. Like New Year's, why do you eat mochi? Because it's very sticky and elastic, and that's kind of seen as a good auspicious sign of long life and all that. It's also, like I said, an offering to the gods around New Year's. And kagami mochi, usually it's these, well, it's two round mochi cakes stacked on top of each other with a dai, this type of citrus stacked on top. And you put that on a little like altar space, and that's like an offering to the gods. And you let it kind of sit there until it gets kind of cracked. Usually, I think that traditionally it's until it's cracked. I mean, some people might eat it before that, but and then you can eat it, and you can cook it like in the frying pan and all that, and you can eat it after that. And sometimes it does get mold on it, so unless it's like bad kinds of mold, like red mold, I think it's also blue mold is like a bad kind of mold, you can wash that off, or you can cut that part off and then you can eat the rest, and that's totally normal. It's okay.
I didn't know mold was so rainbowy.
Yeah, there's really bad kinds of mold, and there's not so bad kinds of mold apparently. So yeah, and just, I think either way you don't want to eat the mold, but you can cut that part off and it'll still be okay in theory. So of course, don't blame me if you eat the wrong kind of mold.
I'm going to be safer. Just don't eat mold.
Yeah, just don't eat mold. Don't, yeah, mold. I mean, I'm telling you guys not to eat mold. I'm telling you to cut that part out first of all. But check with your local Japanese mochi fans.
Mold expert.
Yeah. Japanese mold experts on that one. So yeah, that's the basic rundown. Oh, as for like the etymology of mochi, I always like to look into the origins of where these words come from. Actually, mochi
is going to be hard if it comes from Jomon. That's like
yeah,
older than the Japanese language.
Basically, the answer is we don't know. But
so I was going to say, like, things that have a consistency doughy like mochi, people do call mochi mochi. So like which word came first? But I guess we'll never know.
No, exactly. And there's also a term mochizuki, which can mean full moon or full moon of the 8th lunar month. Okay, so we're talking about the old calendar. We're talking about basically like the Chinese calendar. And Japan used to go by that. They call that Kyureki. And basically all of the months were like 1 month ahead of what it is now. That's why like Chinese New Year's is like around 1 month late compared to how the West celebrates it. Japan used to go by that. So we're talking about that calendar. So
in that calendar, unrelated, but I've just always wondered, is Setsubun like actually near springtime?
Yes. Yeah, because it's 1 month
okay,
later.
Good.
Yeah, like all those like celebrations, they were actually supposed to be like 1 month later. So it makes a lot more sense when you do that.
They really need to update. So in case people don't know, there's a lot of like little festivals that celebrate new seasons. The one I mentioned specifically celebrating spring, but it's like in the middle of winter. Yeah. And it's like, this is not spring at all. Like, why are we doing this now?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But again, it's like if you move it 1 month later, it's like, okay, yeah, this does kind of fall in like the beginning, end of winter or beginning of spring. So mochizuki is a different kanji than the mochi that we use for mochigome and mochi. But it seems like one of the more popular theories is that maybe it came from that because the rice cakes resemble a full moon. And yeah, that makes sense. But I don't know. It's just such an old word that we'll probably never really know for sure where exactly this word came from.
Boston.
Yeah, it came from Boston. Of all places, Boston. Yeah, so that's some of the basic info. So we can start to get into some of the other varieties that we were alluding to, and specifically the sweets, because I think this is, even in Japan, I mean, mochi sweets are like just crazy popular. Like it's not just like we were talking about like ice cream. Like people love mochi in sweets, like in Japan as well. They're part of wagashi, Japanese sweets. And the most common, I would say, is probably daifuku. And even within daifuku, there's many different types of daifuku. The most plain and common, I guess I would say, would be like basically red bean paste wrapped in mochi, and usually it'll be sprinkled or it'll have a layer of some kind of powder that might be kinako powder or some kind of like potato, like what's that called, katakuriko, some kind of powder to keep it from sticky. And I think kinako is probably the most common in wagashi, in Japanese sweets. But there's also, just aside from the red bean paste, the anko, there's also for example, ichigo daifuku. That's probably one of the more popular ones, and that's a strawberry daifuku, and it's exactly the same as the anko one, where it's just a strawberry wrapped in the mochi, and it'll be sprinkled with some powder, usually kinako powder.
So while we're on it,
yeah,
just to put you on the spot,
yeah,
is Yatsuhashi using mochi?
I thought so.
I kind of thought so, and I was going to point it out since it's from Kyoto and I live in Kyoto, but Wikipedia says it uses a mochi-like textured thing.
Oh, really?
So now I don't actually know if it's mochi or not.
I just assumed it was. No.
Apparently, it uses nama yatsuhashi.
But what does Nama Yatsuhashi come from?
I'm in the English. I'll switch to Japanese in a second. Raw, unbaked nama yatsuhashi has a soft mochi-like texture.
Okay, so I just checked in. Well, okay, so this is the AI response. So just full disclosure, but Yatsuhashi wa mochi no ishu desu. So it's a
Okay, so
variety of mochi. Yeah. So maybe they're just using mochi like, but they're not trying to imply that it's not mochi. Because yeah, it feels exactly like mochi when you when you eat it.
Yeah, I thought it was like I even switched to Japanese and it still says nama yatsuhashi
Yeah.
without really explaining beyond that. So okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is mochi. So
I don't know how you want to edit it, but I'll just put this in now.
yeah.
So I'm in Kyoto, and one of the most famous ones here is Yatsuhashi, which we think uses mochi.
Yes, I believe it does. So if you are in Kyoto, check it out. I do like Yatsuhashi. There's a lot of different flavors, cinnamon and I don't know. Like it's been a while since I've had Yatsuhashi,
Matcha,
but
I think.
yeah, matcha. I'm sure there's matcha. Yeah, chocolate, and probably many others. But yeah, they're like little strips, basically, right? Like little strips of mochi.
It's like folded into a triangle, and you can kind of see whatever the filling is because it's translucent, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like them.
Extremely famous in Kyoto.
Yeah.
And kind of a funny little thing. I do encourage people who visit Kyoto to try it because it's the most famous thing. But since I've moved here, when I first moved here like 2 or 3 years ago, I was like asking my students, like, "Oh, what's the cool thing I should have in Kyoto?" Many of my students were like Kyoto's famous for Yatsuhashi, but I don't like Yatsuhashi. So probably it's because they're modern living people who would just rather have a chocolate bar. But
Yeah.
I did think it was funny that like so many Kyoto people were telling me they don't like Kyoto food.
It is one of those things too, where it's like if it's in your face all the time, you go like, okay, fine, I've had Yatsuhashi already. Like I don't need to have it every day. So maybe.
Kind of going off that, like, I don't want to change the topic too much, but when I first moved to Osaka, like I worked at Eikaiwa, and like every student in the world like was like, "Welcome to Osaka. Here's takoyaki," and it was like, I've had so much takoyaki this last month, I don't want to eat it again. And I really went like 2 or 3 years without having it again after that.
I kind of had the same period. Like now I like, I'm totally into it when I can have it. I have
Yeah,
it.
now it's fine, but
Yeah.
man, it was just such an overload.
Yeah. And when you're in Osaka, like and I'm talking about like Osaka neighborhoods, especially, right? Not just like Umeda or like, where all the people
Okay.
gather. Like you don't really see so many takoyaki little like hole in the wall type shops in those areas. But when you're in like neighborhoods where people actually live, there's almost always like a little shop near the train station. You will smell it like every single day if you live in that area, like on the way in, on the way out from work. Like it's just there, and it's just okay. I don't, you don't start to crave it like every day, or like it's like I know it's there. I don't need it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's good if you're visiting. You should.
It is good, but yeah, like just too many like, "Welcome to Osaka, have this." Like, oh, cool, you got me the same food everyone else got me.
Exactly. So yeah, so Yatsuhashi, like I said, there's so much mochi stuff, and there's some mochi stuff that doesn't even have mochi in the name. Oh, there's also like mochi cheese, mochi with like cheese in it, and sometimes this will be in there will be like nabe, like hot pots, right? Like you will have mochi in the hot pot, and I'm pretty sure I've had like mochi cheese in hot pot type stuff. So yeah, there's just tons and tons of mochi stuff. Um, and we can talk about what you brought up earlier, which was the ice cream mochi. Finally, we
Yeah,
get to this.
so in
Yeah, go.
Japan, it's Yukimi Daifuku.
Mhm.
And it's not unpopular here, but I feel like it's surprising that it became so associated with the word mochi outside of Japan.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
That was
it's
probably the big mainstream breakthrough for mochi in at least the U.S. I don't know about Europe.
yeah, because my parents also they just think mochi equals ice cream
Mhm.
because of this in the West. And like again, it's not unpopular, but I feel like Japanese people will be surprised if the first thing you think of when you hear mochi is ice cream.
Yeah,
Like even among mochi snacks, it's probably not in the top 10 popularity here.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And yeah, like people like it. I was looking up videos. I was seeing videos people talking about in Japan, people talking about, Yukimi
Yeah,
Daifuku.
yeah.
How do you make it? And oh, and I also found the news report like foreigners love eating Yukimi Daifuku when they come to Japan, among other Japanese ice cream like, varieties.
Yeah, because it's the only one they know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And look, it's good. I like it. And
Yeah, yeah, there's nothing wrong with it.
yeah, but as hopefully we've made clear in this episode so far, there's so many other varieties, and I would argue definitely for people in Japan, if I tell them, what do you think of mochi? What do you think when I say mochi? They're far more likely to answer New Year's or something related to New Year's than Yukimi Daifuku, the ice cream mochi.
Yeah, if you made a list of associations, I think ice cream would be like in the 30s. It would be like kind of low.
I mean, it might depend on the person, but yeah, it definitely wouldn't be number one for 99% of people, I would say. Uh, but so I looked into the history of this just very briefly. And this makes total sense. Yukimi Daifuku is a much more recent invention. Apparently, it dates back to, I think it was 1981. And
Yes.
yeah, it was created by, of all, I guess,
Showa 56, according to these notes.
thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Showa 56.
We
That's,
should do all of our dates in the annoying
oh my God.
so no one knows what anything is.
Everybody has to look it up. It's like, I like your show, guys, but I never know what year you're talking about.
Maybe that should be a topic because like it's the official year, but like no one likes it, and even if they use it, they have like parentheses, put the real year next to it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You always have to do the math in your head, and I'm awful at that. I always just look it up.
Everyone knows like the year it currently is and their birthday, and that's
Yes, yes, yes. And then if it's close enough to your birth year, you can kind of do the math.
and when I say the year it currently is, I mean the year it currently is. If you ask someone like what was 3 years ago, they'll be like, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh my God, yeah. So Showa period. Then we went into Heisei. Now we're in the Reiwa period.
Yes.
What year Reiwa are we in? I stopped paying attention. I think it's like five or six.
I thought it was 6, but we might be 7 now.
Oh yeah, we are in April at the time of this recording. So it's over, doesn't it?
I'm Googling right now.
Okay. Yeah, I think we should do an episode about that. Maybe coming soon. We might do
Okay, yeah, Reiwa 6 was 2024, so we're now in Reiwa 7.
Reiwa 7. All right. Yay, Reiwa 7.
Wow.
Right. So back to yeah. So Showa 56 was when when the snow what's it called? Yukimi Daifuku. Literally Yukimi Daifuku, by the way, means snow look, and then Daifuku is usually written with the kanji big luck. Apparently it used to be written with a different kanji for big belly. And then there was
okay, that makes more sense.
yeah, there's another, and belly, by the way, belly, stomach and fuku luck can use the same pronunciation. So that, but just different kanji. And then there was another term for it before that, which also meant big belly. So anyway, I guess they just decided to rebrand and make it more, make it a nicer sounding.
They decided to not advertise it'll make you fat.
Yeah, yeah, because mochi is very high in calories. And another thing that Japanese people will tell you around New Year's, it's like, oh, I ate mochi. I ate too much mochi. I got fat. Like that. especially girls. I've had many girls say that to me. It's like, oh, I was eating too much mochi and now I'm fat. It's just a common thing. Like very dense, so I guess it's very calorie rich. Anyway, yeah. So around 1981, it was 1981 by Rotte, the big conglomerate that is well, they do a lot of candy. They do a lot of stuff. They're a conglomerate. But I think they're particularly known for like food, sweets like chocolate, stuff like that. And they also had that I don't know, did they sell it off? Or the Loteria, the fast food company.
Yeah, that got sold off to another company, and they're rebranding as Zetteria now.
Okay. Yeah, I thought so.
I actually think they've gotten better since they did it.
Oh,
I like
okay.
them a lot more now.
All right. Well, I'll have to check them out. I haven't been to, well, no, I think it was like 2 years ago the last time I went to Loteria. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean it's not brand new, but to see the ones rebranded is a little bit new still.
Yeah. So basically, yeah, they filed for this in 1981. It was inspired by another sweet that somebody came across in Fukuoka that was like marshmallows. Like, I guess they had ice cream in them. So it's not like a wholly original idea, but I mean, it's basically a daifuku. It's just mochi with something sweet inside it. So it's not like that was particularly original either. It's just that I guess nobody had put ice cream in the mochi by that point in time. And yeah, I guess it took off from there. So it's been well over 40 years now, and it's become a well-known popular thing, especially outside of the US, where other companies have managed to market it very well.
I've never seen it marketed outside Japan. Do they just call it mochi, or is it still yukimi daifuku?
No, I've never heard the term yukimi daifuku. The only time that I've heard it marketed is in podcast commercials. Some of the podcasts that I might listen to, sometimes there's been times where I've had commercials for some brand of mochi in the US, mochi ice cream, and they do use.
Oh, they just call it mochi ice cream?
Yeah, they call it mochi or mochi ice cream. I don't remember what the brand name was, and I'm not going to advertise them anyway. But they did say mochi. Yeah. If you want,
I feel like if a Japanese person went to America and heard a commercial like "Come here to buy mochi," and they show up and it's just ice cream, they're going to feel annoyed.
No, they'll say, "Do you have mochi?" And they go, "Oh, you mean mochi?"
Right here, like no, mochi.
No, mochi. No, mochi. Machi. Maybe it's machi. All right. So
now that you mention it, it's like one of the few things with an O that I haven't heard become machi.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, it's like Pokemon, right? Yeah, it's not Pokemon
Yeah.
or Pokemon. No, it's Pokemon in English. All right. So I've probably titled this episode like Japan's deadliest food or something like that, because mochi is infamous for being a very deadly food. And this happens around New Year's because the amount of mochi that people eat increases. And I'm sure many people are aware, but as you can imagine, if you don't already know, it can be a little bit dangerous because it is so chewy. And so it's easy to choke on, especially for people that are older. And this is like statistically, like people, these organizations, the government has released numbers on this, and older people are more prone to choking on mochi. And there's a big spike in people choking and being taken to the hospital, and in many cases dying due to choking on mochi, because, as these articles point out, older people have produced less saliva, their jaw may be weaker, so they don't chew as much. Basically, cut up your mochi, people. Cut it up. Don't just take a huge bite and try to cram it down your throat, even if you're not like over 65. Like just be careful. don't choke on mochi. It's good. Just be very careful. And
again, I gotta point out, it's really difficult to make. The taste is very and it can kill you. It's totally not worth the effort. Again, you can just cook a fish in like 5 minutes.
Like this podcast is turning into like Japanese people. Stop doing this. Stop eating this stuff.
It's literally not good for long life. It kills you.
Yeah, that's the most ironic thing, right? It's supposed to be this like auspicious thing for long life and all that, and it's literally killing people that are trying to actually, they're on the brink of being able to say that they've lived a long life, but before they actually, do that, they get killed by the thing that's supposed to
Killed by
give them long
Mochi.
life. Yeah. Uh, but anyway, like for example, I found an article of somebody who I think was their grandmother actually died from eating mochi, and they were writing like, please, this and that, and they were, throwing out the statistics and all that. And every year around in January, like you do get articles. Somebody in Tokyo, got they choked, and sometimes they passed away. Let me see. So from 2018 to 2019, people over 65 years old, there were 661. Note this was over the course of 2 years, and this number was provided by the Japanese Consumer Affairs Agency. There's plenty of numbers around there, and I found just different years, different numbers, but that just gives you a general idea that this is across Japan, right? This isn't like only Tokyo. So it's something that happens. Be aware, be careful. The thing about, for example, like
I'm gonna update my advice. Don't try mochi when you come to Japan. It might kill you.
But see, the thing is that like this doesn't happen with daifuku because that tends to be a much thinner layer that's wrapped around something, so you're gonna bite into it. Usually, especially with like a strawberry one, or like the ice cream ones. Whereas what we're talking about here is big, rice cakes that are like in the soup or that people are eating just by itself with some soy sauce. So you're more prone to just taking a big bite and trying to chew it, but if you don't do a good enough job, it might get stuck in your throat. So.
I guess I could advise them to like chew better, but now I'm just gonna say avoid mochi altogether.
All right, so don't chew better, just don't eat it.
Yeah.
Stay away.
Live on an all liquids diet, then you'll be fine.
Yeah, liquid mochi. Well, you could do what I described earlier, where it's you just blend the raw rice with water, and you get like a rough like gruel kind of thing, and you could just drink that.
Don't you just get okayu then?
You get raw okayu. Yeah, you get raw rice porridge. That doesn't sound particularly good, but hey, I don't think it'll kill you. It's not like actual mochi.
Turns out that's even 10 times deadlier.
Oh my God, it was actually poison.
This food is just trying to kill you.
All right, so let's talk about the rabbit. All right, so this is the I've been saving this for the end because this is the as usual. I like to finish things off with something kind of wacky. So yeah, there's a rabbit making mochi that lives on the moon. Ryan, did you know that?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I knew you knew.
Who didn't know? Everyone knows.
Okay, so here's a question for you. Like, this is something that you see on the full moon, but like, do you see what they're saying? Do you see that shape?
No, not at all. There's nothing rabbit-like at all. Like, not in the slightest bit.
Okay, so what I'm talking about for anybody that's not aware is that this is a folktale, right? It's not like people actually believe that there's an actual rabbit there. As far as I know, maybe there's like 10 people.
Well, I mean, in America, in Western culture, people say the man on the moon, there's supposed to be a shadow that looks like it.
Right. Or the
and also people think the moon is made of cheese because I guess the color it's exactly the same thing. Supposedly there's like a shadow that looks like a rabbit, and the color looks kind of like mochi.
Yeah. So I was watching a video about this, and they inserted a silhouette on the dark parts of the moon that people I guess are referring to. And I kind of saw it. It was like a rabbit in profile holding like this hammer kind of looking thing that we were talking about earlier. That kind of I get it, but I was like, when you just look at a normal picture of the moon, I'm sorry, I don't see it, and I don't think I've ever met a Westerner that said like, yeah, I see that image there. But people a long time ago must have seen it, and that's how they described it. So there is a story behind this I guess the rabbit on the moon thing. And it seems like it's well, it would have to be something after the fact, right? Because the moon was there before people were creating the story. So somebody looked up at the moon and said, "Oh, well, obviously this is how this happened." And so basically, the story is, and I'm sure there's tons of varieties of this. The one that I found is this one, and according to the article that I found, this is the more common interpretation. There was a fox, a kitsune, a rabbit, and a monkey. And they came across this old beggar man who was starving, I guess. And they all decided to get food for the old man bigger because they were nice animals. And
It's rare for the fox to be nice in a Japanese story.
it is, yeah. And this fox, there's no twist ending with the fox. It's actually nice. It goes out, gets fish, like Ryan has been saying, just go eat a fish.
It tastes better and it's easier. Fox wins.
So the fox gets the fish, gets a fish for the old man, and then the monkey gets fruit for the old man, and the
Nah, fox
rabbit,
wins.
yeah, fox still wins, yeah, and the rabbit, unable to find any good food for the old man, throws itself into a fire and tells the old man, "Eat me."
But he's already got a perfectly good fish.
I know, right? Like he's got fish and fruit. The rabbit can just go like, "All right, good job, guys. I guess you don't need
Look,
me."
I brought the chopsticks or something. That's all you got to do. Use his ears.
Yeah, exactly. I'll sing you a song while you eat.
Like, I'll be your waiter. Like, you don't need to do anything because the problem's
Yeah,
already been solved.
yeah. I'll cook the fish for you guys. Like, there's a fire here. I'll cook it for you. Like this rabbit did not need to kill itself.
He doesn't have to choose one. He can have the other two foods.
Anyway, so the old man turns out to be a deity named Taishakuten. And again, there might be some variety in other versions of this story, but in the one that I found, it was Taishakuten, which I believe would be Sakura in the English version of the, I guess, the original Hindi, perhaps, or, well, it's a Buddhist deity, Sakura. So, moved by this rabbit's
Really
self-sacrifice.
stupid move.
Yeah, it's like he's like, dude, you don't have to do that. Apparently, this was a test. This deity was like, all right, let's see if these animals are kind. And then moved by the rabbit's incredible, I guess, self-sacrifice, the deity brought the rabbit back to life, but on the moon for some reason. And then there's multiple justifications for why the rabbit is creating mochi. For example, they're creating mochi for the old man as like, gratitude. The moon is made of mochi or something like that. I don't know. There's a bunch of reasons, and it seems like people don't actually have like a one version of the story. But apparently that's the story. So
I got to point out, the other two also brought food. Did they get a reward? They all passed the test.
not in this story.
So the correct answer was someone asked you for food, so kill yourself.
Yeah, so throw yourself in a fire and tell them to eat you. That is the way to do
How
this.
is he supposed to even get you out of the fire?
Well, I don't
The
know.
rabbit has clearly the worst solution. Why does he get? Maybe this wasn't a reward. Maybe it was a punishment. He got isolated to the moon.
Perhaps.
It's like, you're too stupid. Go away. Stay away from your friends.
Okay, so here's something for the Dragon Ball fans. Speaking of
Oh,
getting isolated on the moon,
Yeah.
yeah, in early Dragon Ball, we're talking the first story arc, the Emperor Pilaf.
It's like literally like issue 3 or something in the manga.
Yeah, I think it's like episode 7 in the anime.
Okay.
Yeah, there's this gangster rabbit, and like,
Do you remember his name? Because I do not.
he's a ninjin, Usagi ninjin or something like that. I forgot what it was called in Japanese. In English, it's Boss Rabbit. Japanese is like something ninjin, I think, or Usagi. I forgot. But anyway, yeah, there's this like rabbit gang with like an actual anthropomorphic rabbit as the gang leader, and then Goku, the main character, ends up defeating them, and then he puts them on the moon, and then they start to create mochi. Like that's the last.
Oh no, he's dumber than that. He has the magical power to transform people into carrots.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and he turns Bulma into a rabbit as well. Not a rabbit,
A carrot.
A carrot. Yeah. And but anyway, their story concludes with Goku dropping them off on the moon, and then much later on, well, not much later on, it's
The moon gets
Piccolo.
blown up, yeah.
Yeah, Piccolo destroys the moon. Yeah, Piccolo destroys. The moon.
Roshi does it first.
No. Does he actually destroy the moon? Because it's Yamcha and Puar that cut off the tail in the tournament.
It's not that. In the tournament, there is a Okami Otoko. And so Roshi, like, oh no, is it that?
The first tournament. Oh my God, sorry guys, we're getting into like Dragon Ball stuff here.
I think Roshi does it first, and then they wish it back off camera, and then Piccolo blows it up in like the beginning of Z.
Yeah, that might be it. Geez, That's the part that always trips me up.
Yes.
The off
Roshi does
camera.
it first. Because I
Okay.
remember it's not Okami Otoko, it's Otoko Okami,
Yeah.
who in the second tournament wants revenge on Roshi because he's
Yeah.
a reverse werewolf.
Yeah.
And he's been stuck in, I think he's been stuck in human form, but he wants
No,
to be a werewolf again because
he's
the
been
girls
stuck
liked
in
him.
werewolf form, but and he
I thought it was the
resents.
other way.
No, he's been stuck in werewolf form, and he
Oh,
resents
yeah, because
Roshi.
the moon's gone.
Yeah, because he
Yeah.
wants to. He can't get a date, right? He's not popular with women anymore. And
Yeah,
the,
yeah, yeah.
the whole joke is, well, first of all, Roshi uses Krillin's head as a substitute for the moon, and then the joke is that actually he's quite ugly as a man. So even if he was a human, he wouldn't be getting dates anyway.
Yeah. And I think they don't show it, but I think after that tournament, Roshi feels bad, so he wishes the moon back for that guy. And then later on, Piccolo blows it up again.
and there was a rabbit creating mochi on the moon there, so we
I
come
just
back
gotta say, I miss the era of like just Dragon Ball being 90% comedy.
yeah, just comedy and no regard for continuity in like a good way.
Yeah, the rabbit guy got blown up twice.
Yeah. Oh my god. All right, sorry. So yeah, so there's a rabbit creating mochi on the moon in Japanese folklore, and that is the story more or less. And that is pretty much it for mochi. Hopefully that at the very least there was a moment that made you laugh, if you even if you knew about mochi already. Like I said,
Remember, don't eat it though. It's trying to kill you.
yeah, it is it's like a horror movie. Okay, so
It is a sentient food and it is trying to kill you.
yes. Uh just, make sure to chew and don't, don't take too big of a bite, especially if you're an older individual, as we all approach that, range of age. Let's be careful. But as I said, there's so much more about mochi. Like I was actually worried how the hell am I gonna cover stuff here, because there's just so much. But yeah, I just tried to focus on the stuff that I thought was personally interesting, like Dragon Ball. But if you have any ideas for future episodes, please let us know. mail@japankyo.com. We're always happy to get ideas. And we will be doing more food stuff and a lot more language stuff as well. We both really enjoy digging into the language. So more stuff like that coming as well. Don't forget to subscribe. And I don't know, anything else, Ryan?
Nope.
Okay. All right. So then we'll see you in the next one.
Bye bye.